Hello everyone, my name's FlareBlitzed here and welcome back to Remembrance. We have Kim, we have Jesse, we have Ashley and Rook, who we've helped out twice now, and he is obligated to help us in our journey to ignite this last tower. From what I've seen, Jess, your focus is more on healing physical wounds and putting out emotional fires like panic attacks or depressive episodes, no? That's correct. Thus, you agree that most humans can endure something like a broken bone or a standalone panic attack and still be able to bounce back afterward, yes? Yes? What is your point? Psychological trauma is different. When someone is severely traumatized, they become a different person. Permanently. No amount of sympathy or kindness or affection or apologizing will ever undo what happened to that person or how they changed because of it. Their personality may be largely the same, and they may be able to grow as a person because of it, but they'll never go back to who they were before. Do you understand, Jesse? You're trying to tell us that it doesn't matter how many healing properties or spells that Jesse puts on Kim, there are some wounds, that you cannot heal. Which I can agree, but that doesn't mean to say that those psychological traumas are incurable. One factor to help you along is time. It is a very, very important factor when it comes to recovery. You claim psychological trauma and its effects are irreversible, but how can that possibly be true? The name of the phenomenon, psychological trauma itself, suggests a wound to be healed. What sort of wound cannot be healed? You're thinking too literally. Humans can recover from the trauma and learn to live with the attendant changes in their automatic behavior, which is in essence how it heals. But the trauma itself never goes away. No amount of camaraderie or love can undo, say, a fundamental reshaping of how a victim perceives other people after they have been gravely betrayed. It becomes a part of who they are. If it helps you to make sense of it, you can think of it like a scar tissue that remains after a large wound finishes healing. It may be biologically benign, but it discolors and disfigures the body, and enough of it will irreversibly change the person's appearance. I see. Why are you talking about Kim behind her back? You do know very well that we are here, don't you? I can't make a point across if I can't even be able to speak properly. But don't let me give you the wrong idea here. Humans need meaningful, positive social support in order to recover from psychological trauma. They're social creatures after all. It's also very important to note that the trauma doesn't define who the victim is at their core, no matter how severe the trauma may be. At the end of the day, it's just some blank that happened to them. Stuff. Albeit unusually damaging stuff. I think I understand what you mean. To summarize it, even if I cannot heal Kim's emotional wounds directly using my power, I can help her as she heals herself by being kind and supportive? Exactly. You're pretty sharp, Miss Goody Goody. I underestimated you. I concede you're more erotic than I'd imagine you to be, Ashley. I don't understand, however, why you felt the need to tell me about this. There are a few things that infuriate me more than hearing someone spout out simplistic misunderstandings of highly complex topics as though they're fact. Because you're smart, I knew I could talk some sense into you about trauma once I got you to listen to me. But why are you so obsessed with trauma, Ashley? So I did. Okay. Oh, hey. I didn't know the towers have balconies on them. What's with this place? That weird energy in the air from before is almost overpowering now. It's making my skin crawl like crazy. I don't feel anything. Do you know why, Ashley? Judging from the spike in the intensity of my headache, I suspect we've drawn very near to the source of this strange energy field. Please be careful as we proceed, Kim. Kim? This... I'm getting the same feeling of ethereal nostalgia again, though it's far, far stronger this time. Ethereal nostalgia? What the devil's name are you talking about? I suppose I really haven't done a good job of conveying the full extent of those feelings to anyone, have I? I guess that, somewhere along the way, I resigned myself to the fact that I'll never be able to express their potency and vividness to someone. Plus, I started getting tired of the half-hearted encouragement teamed with the confusion that I got every time I did make an effort to explain them. Of course, it's not that I'm trying to be aloof or emotionally distant. I just don't know how to tell other people about these strange feelings. Seems like she's very distant from everyone else. How do I explain this feeling of being separated from something unimaginably important to me, when I don't even know what that something could be? How do I explain this feeling that I've spent ages in some place almost identical to this one despite having no memory of doing anything like that? How do I explain this feeling of incredibly intense nostalgia that this place gives me in spite of how bizarre and horrible a place it is? They just go on and on and on and on. I feel like there's some connection between them. Like there's some sense I can make out of all of this. But how can I possibly explain it, you know? How mysterious. Are you feeling alright, dear? Let's keep moving. This place is incredibly dark. You say this place is a balcony. But what sort of balcony does this serve as? Moreover, what is the way forward? Oh, thank heaven, the reinforcements! So there are survivors. It's been so long. I was beginning to fear that the entire settlement had been wiped out. The despair lamp is still active. How are things down there? Have they got any of the lamp replacement prototypes working? I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. We're not from the settlement, so I seriously doubt we're the group of reinforcements you've been expecting. We're just passing through as a part of a mission I was given by the Diamage to reactivate all of the towers and lamps here. We're on a mission from God. Hehehe. How do you... Oh, never mind. We did search all of the buildings in the settlement looking for other people before we came up here, but they'd all been abandoned. It's as I feared. Even though the chosen one is here, it seems it's already too late. Kindly refrain from blasphemy. Who are you? And what exactly is a despair lamp? My name is Isaac. I was one of the assistant researchers on the Artificial Hope Lamp project. When the Hope Lamp started going out and continued to do so despite our best efforts to keep it lit, we tried to create them lit. We tried to create artificial ones. Unfortunately, none of them worked. During the course of our research, we inadvertently created despair lamps. As you can likely guess, they attract crawlers rather than repelling them. As the Hope Lamp's shortage grew worse, we deployed despair lamps far away from the settlement to try and draw the crawlers away, with mixed success. Eventually we got desperate. A number of the other residents and I were sent up here to deploy the spare lamp atop this tower. Even though the town is right there beside the tower, Who the hell thought that was a good idea? Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. I know it sounds foolhardy, but then again we were desperate for a solution, and the other towers were too dangerous to approach while carrying the equipment. The hope was that the crawlers would nest inside of the tower after they destroyed the despair lamp instead of scattering away at random like usual. You do realise what the word nest is, right? It means repopulate. And it worked. Well, it doesn't mean repopulate, but the process of nesting is in the hope of repopulation. Or in other words, resting. And it worked. They all cluttered up in the tower just as we predicted. What's more, rather than destroying the despair lamp, they simply fell dormant once they'd swarmed inside. It was a resounding success. My fellow residents and I, however, were completely overrun by the masses of crawlers that stormed the tower. By a miracle, I managed to evade the worst of it, but the others who accompanied me were all devoured. That's horrible. I'm so sorry. My orders were to remain here and ensure the continued operation of the despair lamp, while the researchers at the settlement finished their work. So that's why none of them attacked us. Because they were all dormant. I'd hoped that our sacrifice had brought them enough time to complete a functional artificial hope lamp, but it seems our hope was in vain. I've delayed you for long enough. I wish you luck with your mission. I've delayed you long enough. Please don't worry about me. Are you sure, Isaac, that we shouldn't worry about you? I'm guessing this is the despair lamp. Why is it shaped like that? What a loathsome thing. To think the state of the surface fell so far as to drive the residents to desecrate the tower in this way. Kim, it's likely you won't be able to reactivate the beacon as long as this despair lamp is active. Makes sense. Well, since I activate hope lamps by touching them, I wonder if you can deactivate those of the opposite effects. I didn't think that would actually work. Oh, what a relief. My headache is gone at last. Hey, Kim. Huh? What is it? You know how the guy out on the balcony said the lamp in here was keeping all of the crawlers in this tower dormant? Yeah? What do you think's going to happen now that you've turned it off? They're going to be awake. Oh, sheesh. Oh. It's a good thing we've got Rook with us, isn't it now? Our turn-tine is no good. Oh. I like that. Just keep attacking. Laughable. Yikes. How long does a Rook take to attack? It's like the Rook doesn't even attack. Okay, Lightning Bolt. Revive and completely heal an ally. That's a good one. Summon lightning, immense damage to one foe. That's good. That's a good amount of damage. Lovely. Reassuring hug. So that's why he takes such a long amount of time to be able to attack. It's because he's so powerful. Oh, Ashley, stunned? Why are you stunned? Yeah, our chances are slimming. Oh, that was the character I wanted to use, Catherine, whatever it's called. Can we even request information? Yeah, our chances at the moment are dwindling. Hold on. Heal yourself. Panic record. Not not that. Lovely. You need to use some consume. Lovely. The best thing we can do is keep everyone alive. Oh, I didn't mean to press defend. Oh well. Oh, we tried to use consume. It just did not work. Whenever you try and use an ability of something, sometimes it just does not work out. Revives an ally. Revive revive Ashley. Lightning bolt. Jaundice, that's no good. Hi. Consume. Ooh, it's looking a little bit tight, but there's nothing we cannot do. Heal Kim. Lovely. That's one of the weak ones done and out of the way. Ooh, right. Lovely. Heal Kim. Lovely. No. What? Yeah, fight. What the? Oh, it's done this process. I've already selected on a character to attack. How dare you do this to me? I guess, Ashley. These last foes aren't very powerful. But then again, watch as I become completely obliterated. None of these panics were cause. Consume. Oh, that was almost worthless as I was taking out the enemy. Lovely. For now, relief washes over Kim. That's a big amount of experience. I'm not... Excuse me? I think we've got some big waves coming up. Yeah, this is not looking good, folks. Oh, dearie me. If I knew this was going to happen, I would have healed up everybody. I didn't mean to do that on Rook. Oh, gosh. This is not good. This is just the worst, actually. Stop attacking. Oh, will the Rook actually attack, please? Thank you. Took out one of the bigger enemies. Oh, we can't hug. We can't do much. Heal yourself. Everyone just does too much damage against us. And our waiting time is too long. It's almost as if the game knows that it's trying to ruin our chances. Well, there goes that. Goes our chances. Reanimate Jess. Oh good, she's fully revived. Lightning bolt against the bigger enemy. Oh, if only we can reanimate Ashley as well, this would be beneficial. Smaller enemies. Although Jess is not moving that much. Waiting times. Ooh. We can do this. This is not completely impossible, it's just very hard. Good. Perfectly heal Ashley. I know, I could use that for a lightning bolt, but I'm doing the ultimate. Good. And then we're going to heal Rook as he is down on HP. Stop it. Don't want your annoyance. You're still going to do better then, huh? Lovely. Revive Kim. Keep doing that. Lovely. Took out a few of them there. I think there's 3 of them. Heal Kim. Must prepare for the next phase. Actually, if we can get it down to 1, then maybe we can use this time to just heal up. So just stick with standard attacks. Lovely. Good. Oh. We didn't do that thing that I wanted to. Yikes. Are you alright, Kim? Here, one moment. Boing. Yay, and the Rook too. Huh? Huh. Huh. That was all of them, right? I believe so, yes. Only the ones in this room. There are more in the other parts of the tower, and I'd wager they'll come pay us a visit here if we take too long. So unless you want all of us to become tutors with crawlers, I suggest you go turn the beacon on. Now. So like that. Would you like to save your game? Absolutely. So that's all 3 of them lit. Is this going to be the... At last. Who are you? Hello, Kimberly. I am Umbra, the Diamond responsible for the creation of the surface. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's nice to finally meet you, Umbra. There's a number of things I've been wanting to ask you about for quite a while now. Master! Hello again, Jesse. I've missed you. Oh, how I've missed you as well. It's so good to see you again, Master. Indeed, it's been far too long. Please forgive my extended absence. You don't need to apologize, truly. I'm delighted for merely being able to see you again at all. I am pleased to hear it. Sheesh, get a room, you two. The Ashen Force. Hey, Shady. Did you miss me? Hardly. Your mere presence is one of ill omen. I had hoped that you would never again intrude into any of the spheres under the jurisdiction of the Queen of All after your last act of interference. My last act of interference, huh? That's funny. I could have sworn all I was doing was cleaning up the foul, rotting mess that you'd left behind. Wait, you two know each other? We've been acquainted, hee. Yes, to my emphatic dismay, the Ashen Force has interfered with the execution of any number of the directives put forth by Salaventa, the Queen of All, including, as you can gather by its presence here, this current one, and loath that I am to acknowledge it, not even the Queen herself is capable of deterring or even predicting the Ashen Force's movements or actions, despite our best, continual, and most concerted efforts to do so. You could even say I'm a force to be reckoned with? I see. Master, I don't mean to interrupt, but what do you mean by the spheres under Salaventra's control? A sphere is a meta-region of space-time. To be more precise, a sphere is any self-contained subset of the larger existence within its own flow of time. Everything here, from the surface to above the sky and from the outskirts to the heartland, consists of this one sphere of existence, for instance. I see. Well, in any case, like I said before, I have a few questions I'd very much like you to answer, Umbra. now that I've completed your mission. More than a few, in fact. By all means, ask away. Why did Jesse and I have to fight hand to hand with the crawlers? I mean, aren't you basically God here? You could destroy all of the crawlers on the surface with a snap of your fingers, right? So why didn't you? Because of several binding particulars of the segment of the directive that I was responsible for implementing, I was and still am not permitted to take any direct destructive or eliminative actions against the enemies of home, regardless of the extent of damage or havoc they inflict, as their presence to any extent was not at all accounted for in the original scope of the directive, and the binding terms of this directive was immutable. In other words, your hands were tied because of your orders. Yes. That's a pretty flimsy excuse. Let me guess. Your orders also kept you from reactivating the lamps and towers yourself. Rather, I made several attempts to do exactly that long before the decision was made to summon a chosen one. But the tendency of the enemies of hope to nest within the interiors of the towers of remembrance, combined with their vast numbers, soon resulted in concentrations of negative energy in the towers of remembrance that were so immensely potent that they immediately extinguished the hope beacons whenever I attempted to illuminate them myself. Because you needed the strongest of the nesting enemies of hope before activating the beacons, they remained active rather than shutting back off. I was not permitted to do the same. Really now? I have no more love for the enemies of hope than you do, Kimberly. Had I the freedom to do so, I would have long since exterminated the lot of them. Even sending Jesse to assist you and take combat action against the enemies of hope to protect you required a very generous interpretation of the terms. What are they, anyway? The crawlers, I mean. I conducted a considerable amount of experimentation during the creation of the surface with the fundamental underlying principles that govern the behavior and physical interactions of all materials native to this sphere. This all sounds very complicated, but then again, it in itself is quite self-explanatory. Anything within the space-time of this realm, or this sphere, has its own rules. And while I dare say the bulk of my work was a considerable success, I did not properly account for two crucial factors, an oversight that eventually resulted in the project's failure and the need to retrieve a chosen one. The first factor is that human spirits emit tremendous amounts of energy, especially in response to pronounced mental or emotional distress, and this energy is released outward into the environment when the spirit is not anchored inside of a body, as was the case for all of those that came here. So you're saying that this is not the first time that a chosen one was chosen. The second factor is the immense magnitude and depth of the malevolence that is dormant in human spirits. While the first factor has a certain amount of utility in that it made possible the chosen one protocol, it, when taken in conjunction with the second factor, ultimately proved to be disastrous in its consequences. Nevertheless, having given you the necessary context, I can now fully answer your question, Kimberly. The enemies of hope are the tangible animate forms of extremely pure human malevolence, detached forcibly from the spirits that originated them. As in, they're pure evil? As if. I see you're as abysmal at explaining things as ever, Umbra, so I'll do it. Kim, evil doesn't mean anything. It's just a word humans throw around to describe things they don't like or don't understand. Familiarity is good. Strangeness is evil. Your friends are good. Your enemies are evil. I can go on, but you may get my point. You can call the crawlers evil, but you'll never actually understand what they are if you do. you'll just end up blindly fearing and reviling them. But since you genuinely want to know what they are, I'll tell you. They're the fear, anxiety, resentment, rage, loathing, despair, pain, and dread of the people who were brought here, shaped into physical bodies. They're just nothingness that's being cemented into a physical form by all of the emotions and parts of your mind you try not to think about. When the poor saps who ended up here approached the towers and were made to remember the gory details of their repressed trauma, it overwhelmed them. They started hemorrhaging negative energy, which quickly began to materialize into those crawlers. And when the crawlers attacked, the resulting panic and pain made even more crawlers appear. So the whole thing ballooned out of control. That's so horrible. Of course, that last bit there was mostly just me speculating about how it all went down. Jess, Shady, I suppose she's talking to the rook. Can you confirm, is that in fact how it happened? I was waiting for Kim for most of it, but your scenario is consistent with what fraction of it I did witness. Your intuition is correct, yes. How did you know all of this anyway? Aren't you an outsider to all this? Just who are you, Ashley? Or rather, what are you? You go first. Huh? I'll tell you who and what I am, but you have to tell me who and what you are first. Why? You already know that, don't you? If you want me to answer your question, then do it. Okay, I'm Kim, and I'm a human being. And what does that actually tell me about the foundational nature of who you are at your core, or about what it actually means to be a human being? All you've given me are two names that other people assigned to you before they knew anything about who you were as a person at that. If you wanted to give me a meaningful answer, you'd struggle a bit, since it's nearly impossible to put such a complex abstract idea into words, no? Explaining who or what you are to another person isn't simple at all, so don't go around acting like it is. Fair point. Anyway, I'm Ashley, and I'm the sole enforcer agent of the pan-dimensional fundamental principle of disruption, flux, and revitalization. What? If it makes it easier to understand, you can think of me like a decomposer, but instead of eating carrion, I eat dying societies, planets, and spheres. Like this one. Hehehe. Master? Oh? What's wrong, Madam Gloomy? Did I intimidate you? Yes, very, very much so. You're too cute for your own good. Also, don't misunderstand my use of the word agent. I don't report to anyone. I'm free to wander and meddle and act however I please. So then, hypothetically speaking, you could just choose to leave this place without destroying it. Sure, I could choose to do that. I'm not going to, though. I despise Salaventra. If she had her way, all of existence would stagnate and rot away into a vile, sludgy pile of cosmic pus. And I mean that quite literally. Existence as a whole is a living, growing organism, after all. On top of that, she's actively and intentionally trying to cripple me and blot me out on several occasions, even though she's the one causing problems. Because of that, I'm gonna enjoy every last second of raising this monster-infested garbage dump of a necrotic sphere back into the void. You're wrong. The directives of the Queen of All endeavour only to bring peace and tranquility to all living creatures under her domain. Compared to her and her mission, you are nothing more than a mindless force of death and destruction. Say that again. I dare you. You know, it's all really annoyed me how she calls herself the Queen of All, when she only controls maybe 5 spheres at best. There's millions upon billions upon trillions upon quadrillions upon quintillions of spheres, but she's the Queen of All because she has 5? There's pompous self-righteousness is no Queen of All, then Kim is the Queen of the Milky Way galaxy. I'll never, ever let that insufferable blowhard get anywhere close to her ill-conceived, infallibly stupid goal of controlling all of existence. Not that I'll ever have to try. After all of her little schemes are just abortive and half-baked as yours are, Shady. Be silent, you monster! How about you make me Blondie? Ashley, wait! What? Well, it's just, you know. Oh, right. I still didn't get to ask Umbra all the questions I have. You know, since I had to do that mission stuff, and I had those burning questions about it, we've been over that, haven't we? If you're dead set on destroying Umbra and everything here, then I can't really stop you. Not that I'd ever dared to try, of course, but I at least want to get a few more answers about why I got dragged into this whole mess in the first place, you know? It's only fair, right? I suppose that is only fair, yeah. But I can't say I'm interested in listening to any more of Shady's lousy excuses, so I'm heading out for now. See you later, Madam Gloomy. Hehehehe. Well, it's a good thing we still have Rook with us. Would you like to save your game? Absolutely. I can't believe that actually worked. Oh? Thank you so much, dearie. You saved the dire margin I like. Your valour truly is magnificent. Indeed, we are indebted to you. You have my gratitude, Kimberly. It's nothing, really. Though I don't know if I'd say I have valour. If anything, I was petrified. I thought for sure Ashley was going to jump over and gut me from interrupting her like that. But I also felt like if I didn't do something, she might have killed you. That scared me way more than the thought of her killing me did. Yeah, I knew I couldn't overpower her, so I just throw out the first excuse I could think of to try and stall her. Not exactly what I'd call valour. But it's precisely because you took decisive action despite of your fear that your actions were valorous. Rather than letting your fear control you, you knowingly endangered yourself purely to save the Diamarge on I. That is true bravery, Kim. Well, I'm glad you think so, at least. And I'm really glad none of us ended up getting hurt, huh? Agreed. Incidentally, my excuse wasn't a lie. I do still have some questions. Please, feel free to ask me anything. Or, well, I guess I really only have one question left. Why was I the chosen one? The procedure for candidate selection as enumerated by the specification of the Chosen One protocol that I drafted as an appendix to the main directive was engineered to have something of an arbitrary nature in the interests of both fairness and pragmatism, as the circumstances under which the protocol would be triggered would be there to such an extent as not to permit any extensive deliberation over the pool of potential candidates. What are you going on about? To be more precise, once the protocol has been triggered, the next human to die with a sufficiently large burden of lingering trauma in addition to being redirected here in the same way as other traumatized spirits rather than travelling directly into the afterlife becomes the chosen one. Wait, so the only reason why I got picked to deal with this is because I'd been traumatized all my life, then died horribly at just the wrong time? Yes, although that's a blunt phrasing. Are you kidding me? How is that even remotely close to being fair? Is it fair in sulphur that no one's spirit was any more likely or unlikely than any other to be selected for the role? It was folly of me, however, to fail to activate the protocol in a timely manner, as the decision I made to halt the admittance of traumatized spirits in the hope that they would strive the enemies of hope by depriving them of their theretofore uninterrupted supply of negative energy was an error. It was not until the enemies of hope achieved such great strength and numbers that they were able to snuff out the last of the hope lamps that I invoked the protocol, and your death, by sheer coincidence, followed almost immediately after the invocation, thus resulting in your arrival here. It's arguable that my concept of what makes a protocol fair or unfair is contingent on its proper enforcement, and that the delay in its enactment is necessarily unfair, as it resulted in your selection when someone else should have taken your place. For that I sincerely apologize. It's okay. I forgive you. For better or worse, I've come to something of a realization about this. For my entire life, and thought it was, well, I suppose, I've been dropped into situation after situation where I felt like I had no control at all. And to a certain extent that was true. I mean, I didn't exactly have a choice in what schools I went to as a kid, or in coming here after dying, etc. For the longest time, I resented everyone who put me through that misery, and I resented myself for having those feelings of resentment. Since I thought it was my fault that everyone was harassing, abusing, or neglecting me, I couldn't justify in my mind why I felt so resentful. Aren't I supposed to love my family and friends? Aren't I supposed to be able to stand up to bullies? I'm pathetic. What's wrong with me? To be completely honest, I still feel that way a little bit even now. Hell, I've been trying to put my best foot forward, but I'm still feeling lousy just from remembering how I was assaulted, let alone the other trauma. But things are different now, or I guess I'm different now. I realise now that the terrible things I had to endure wasn't all my fault, and that there isn't anything wrong with me for feeling the way I do. I mean, there'll always be countless things I can neither understand nor control, and awful things are going to happen to me from time to time. There's no helping or avoiding that. There is, however, something that I'll always be able to control. Me. Even if I can't magically make myself feel better and be happy, or make my bad memories and traumas disappear, I can control what I do and how I react. It's still stressful and frightening, but I know now I can survive things like years of bullying and neglect or breaking up with an abusive partner. And while it's sobering to know that my trauma will never truly go away, there's still a certain comfort in knowing I made it out alive, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel a little more confident in my ability to confront, and navigate these sorts of awful traumatic things. Moreover, despite knowing I'll never be in complete control, I feel more at ease now that I'm aware of the extent of my agency, if that makes sense. In other words, no matter what happens to me or how insignificant I might be, I'll always be me, and nothing and no one can ever take that away from me. And no one or no thing can ever take away. Nothing or no thing can ever take that away from you. And I wouldn't want you any other way. Thank you, Jesse. It generally is heartening to bear witness to incontrovertible proof that the underlying premise of my proposal was not entirely unsound. Nevertheless, allow me to change the subject, if you would, to the final remaining outstanding matter that I need to discuss with you, Kimberly. That's fine. What's on your mind? As I'm sure Jesse informed you, now that you've successfully completed a mission, I'm both willing and able to resurrect you if that's what you wish. Alternatively, I can send you to the afterlife, where you'll be eternally free, from all danger, stress, and human limitation. If neither of these options appeals to you, you're also welcome to accompany Jesse and I to Melancholy Palace to make some other petition heard. Melancholy Palace? I can't even pronounce that word! Yes. I'm certain that the Ashen Force will return before long to wreak yet more havoc. So I feel it prudent consult with that. As to what circumstances we have at our disposal to repel it, although I fear that we may have no choice but to abandon this directive prematurely. Regardless, whenever they and I work in concert, our power is greatly magnified, and as such, we should be able to grant any desire you may have. The palace, however, has been heavily shielded and armoured in order to deter the monumental swarms of the enemies of hope that have surrounded it, and consequently, I would be unable to teleport you directly to the main chamber at the centre of the palace with us. Therefore, requiring you to navigate the palace's defences and repel any attacks by the enemies of hope on your own. What is your decision, Kimberly? Thank you. That is a very good feature to put in the game. A save point, or a save chance in this case, before making a major decision. I think this is where the endings come about. Well, I'm admittedly not too keen on the idea of coming back to life. You aren't? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just feel like it's not really my place just to decide what am I meant to do? To come back to life after I've died. Like most of you would probably be able to pronounce that word perfectly fine, but I'm unable to. You know, I mean, there's a countless number of people far, far more important than me who lived and died throughout human history without being resurrected. Meanwhile, I'm pretty much a nobody. What makes me somehow more deserving of a second chance at life than any of those other people? Plus, now that I remember how I died, I'm not exactly eager to reunite with the few friends I had back on Earth. How did you die? Ooh. I drowned. I was with my friend Robert and his girlfriend Morgan. The three of us were out on the lake next to his house at night taking a ride on his boat. The two of whom had started flirting in the boat's cabin, so I'd stepped out to the rear of the boat and was looking out over the water. All of a sudden, the boat veered sharply to the side and I lost my balance and fell down into the water. I'd been wearing a life jacket, but the one Robert had given me was kind of tight, so I unbuckled it. It must have got caught on something, as it was missing when I was surfaced. I shouted and screamed at the top of my voice, but they must have not heard me. They didn't even try to turn the boat back around to come get me. It was very late by then, so there were no other boats out on the lake. The water was so cold, so it's kind of like Titanic. Before I knew it, I didn't have the strength to keep my head above the water's surface anymore. I started to sink, and then Kim. Admittedly, I know why the boat veered to the side like that, but I really didn't want to accept it, because accepting that would mean accepting that I died for an unbelievably stupid reason. Just before the boat swerved, I looked back at the cabin to see if Robert and Morgan had stopped getting frisky with each other, but instead, Morgan was going down on Robert. Going down on... Come over here for a moment and I'll explain it to you, Jesse. It's an expression referring to... Damn. No. No. What? That's what they were doing? What an astonishingly poor choice of time and location for such an act. You're not wrong, but yeah. Robert was essentially the last close friend I had back on Earth. Emphasis on was. Between remembering how I died and reflecting on the anemic relationships I had with everyone else, I can't say that I'm interested in going back home. To be completely honest, I'd rather be forced to wander through bizarre, dangerous places like this surface forever than go back to Earth. There's nothing left for me there. On a somehow related note, I'd like your input on something, Umbra. What might that be? I've been getting these incredibly strong impressions of familiarity and nostalgia from things I've seen here. However, I've never been here before. What's more, none of my memories from my life on Earth are remotely close enough to the things and places here to explain why why they feel so familiar. Can you tell me anything about them? I cannot, but I believe I know where you can find the information you seek. The location is in a remote sphere on the outer fringes of existence, far removed from both this one and the one containing your Earth. Although we cannot bring you there, the palace and I can grant you the power to move between spheres, thereby enabling you to travel there yourself. Does that sound acceptable to you? Yeah, that works for me. I guess I'll go along with you and Jesse to the palace then. So be it. Of course, that's easy for me to say, but I'm not too confident about my odds of surviving being attacked by momental swarms of crawlers. I assure you that navigating the palace defences will not be quite as treacherous as you've imagined it. Even when dormant, the palace exudes an energy field that strongly repels any enemies of hope that draw near to it, though it has the inverse effect of attracting their attention at a distance, hence why such a great numbers of them have congregated near the exterior of the palace. Due to the palace's current dormancy, it's entirely possible that a few enemies of hope will be present within the palace, but most will be repelled. Oh. So the palace is like the lamps. Rather, the hope lamps have those same properties because they are composed of the same material as the palace. I'm going to call that the palace rather than its name because I do not have a clue on how to pronounce it. The hope lamps are made from the same material as the palace. So then, are you the same way, Jesse? Yes. I too am made from a material derived from the Extraraptor's body. What better to serve as a guardian against the enemy of hope than an animate hope lamp? Heh, makes sense. Though, if Jesse is a walking, talking hope lamp, Then how have the crawlers been able to get anywhere near us? Shouldn't they have been repelled? I significantly underestimated the density of the Hope Lamp's crystalline structure, as that information was not relevant either for the creation of or calculating the energy output from the stationary lamps. As a result, the form I gave to Jess is massive to such an extent that most of the energy she generates is utilized merely to move her body, with most of the leftover energy dedicated to powering her healing and combat abilities. Consequently, her repulsion field output is very weak, which is likely why even the lesser crawlers could still approach you undeterred. I'm too heavy to keep you safe, Kim. I don't think you're too heavy at all. If anything, I'd say you have a very nice figure. Ah, wait. No, what I meant to say is that it's not a big deal if you can't perfectly repel crawlers. You've still protected me from them anyway, right? Yes, I suppose that's true. That's very kind of you to say, my dear. Don't mention it. Really. Master, are you certain there's no way for us to bring Kim directly to the center of the palace without us? I don't want her to be alone. Regrettably, that is beyond my power. Boo! Something happened. What the hell, Ashley? Don't scare me like that. I got you good. The look on your face was priceless. You're just always so jumpy, Kim. It makes me want to spook you. Wait, where are we? Where's Jesse, Umber, and the Rook? Oh, they're probably still standing around on top of that tower. I bet you they're still in shock over me popping back like that. This is the palace, I think. I'm not sure what else this could be, at least. And I didn't see any other places that could have been it. You mean you don't know where we are? I'm guessing based on my intuition. It's my first time here too, you know. Why did you bring me here? Didn't you say that you want to come here to have Mel grant your wish? I could have sworn you mentioned wanting to power to jump between spheres. Besides, I wasn't able to let Shady drop you out here all by yourself. Okay, let me rephrase the question. Why are you helping me, Ashley? 'Cause you're my buddy, Kimbo. Why wouldn't I want to help you? I distinctly remember you saying that you were looking forward to destroying this place and everything in it. So? That's been my plan from the moment I got here, Kim. That's why I'm here. Just because you know about it doesn't mean we're not a team anymore. You earned your wish fair and square. I'm not going to take that away from you. I want to help you get your reward. And I also want to make sure you leave before I get down to business here. I wouldn't want you getting caught in a crossfire. I'm not here to excuse a necrosis. Not here to not hurt poor little Kimberly. What exactly is this necrosis you keep mentioning anyway? Take a wild guess. Here's a hint. It's pitch black and smells rotten. Overcrawlers? Overcrawlers? Bingo! The kinds of rot I've been having to track down lately can vary a lot in how they look and act, but these crawlers definitely fit the bill. This place is a breeding ground for them. Even if I eradicated every last crawler here, most would appear once Umbra tried to resume their project. And if a single one of them escapes, we run a real risk of it hiding somewhere, multiplying, then invading and overrunning all of existence. I can't and won't allow that, so I will be destroying this place. Well, perhaps that's for the best. I mean, what's even left here at this point other than the lamps and some abandoned buildings? Is a wasteland like this really worth keeping around, especially at the risk of letting the crawlers escape? Who? What happened to me being a menace of wanting to get rid of this place? I guess I just misunderstood you. Say, how do you know about me wanting to see the palace? Or about about how Umbra was going to send me here alone? I thought you walked me away before that. I might have lied about leaving, and I might have instead just turned myself invisible and eavesdropped. Wait, so then, you know that when I stopped you under the pretense of asking Umbra more questions, that you were completely full of blank? Come on, Kim, that was super obvious. Give me a little more credit than that. Then why did you go along with it? I needed to calm myself down. You gave me a good opening, so I took advantage of it. I nearly lost my temper and attacked Umbra and Jesse at full strength, which would have incinerated them. You, Rook, and probably most of the tower. Neither you or Rook would have deserved that, so I stopped myself. I see. Thanks for not doing that. Any time, Madam Gloomy. Also, since you're sweet on Jess, I figured I'd let you score some points by letting you be the brave hero who ran off Big Bad Ashley. I don't know that I'd characterize my feelings as being sweet on her. She just means a lot to me, you know. I'm very grateful for what she's done. Oh, come off it. I heard that fruitation slip of yours about Jess's figure. Okay. Lay it to rest, okay? Will you please cut that out? Anyhow, this has gone on for long enough. Fighting for crawlers lost what little novelty it had after that scrap in the last tower. I want to end this already, so I'll do what I can to take these fights more seriously without endangering you. I have returned. Ah, hello again, Rook. I wasn't sure if you were going to join us. I mean, this isn't really a part of the mission, but I was going on when you decided to join, so my concern is with neither the exact nature nor the implied continuation of your original mission. My concern is with providing my full existence to you, Kimberly Warren, as a means of expressing my gratitude to you for your prior service to me. I think there's more to it with this Rook than we realise. Wait, how do you know my full name? There are many things that I know, and there are many things that I do not. Your name lies in the former category. I can hope to explain no further. That doesn't answer... well, whatever. I'm happy to have you with us, Rook. Let's go. Jesse is no longer in your party. No. Ashley is now at max level. Ashley can now use the special skill Share Energy. Ashley can now use the special skill Attack Mode. Ashley can now use the special skill Defense Mode. Speed Mode. Kim can no longer use special skill Request Information or Reanimate Jesse. Like, what? Thank you so much for watching, folks. This has gone on for a bit more than I wanted to, but this is definitely the next phase of the game. After completing our task of reigniting the Towers of Remembrance, we are now searching for answers as to this nostalgia that we keep on having, Kim. So thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Remembrance. Have a good day and take care of yourselves.